Tēnā koutou e te iwi wānui nau mai oki mai ki te Whare Pūnanga Kōrero, and welcome back to Whare Pūnanga Kōrero for this week. Of course, eliminating death and suffering from prostate cancer through raising awareness, funding, research, providing support for men, their families and whānau. It is Blue September, prostate cancer, and it's time, and it's this time that we help our Tane, we help our men. And with me I have some beautiful guests, and I'm going to pass it over to our first kai kōrero, Graham Tēnā koe. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Kia ora, thank you, Diane. So my name's Graham. I am the New Plymouth support coordinator for the support group for Prostate Cancer Foundation. I'm a cancer survivor. I have prostate cancer and very aware of the statistics relating to prostate cancer. So in New Zealand, approximately 4,000 men each year are diagnosed with prostate cancer, and around 650 will die from prostate cancer. So where we're getting to is the need for testing, for men to get tested for prostate cancer and to be aware of prostate cancer. It's so important. And if prostate cancer is picked up in its very early stages, then the outcomes can be very good, either through surgery or through radiotherapy. If it's not picked up in time and it becomes metastatic, in other words, it's spread, then the disease is serious, and the outlook is life expectancy of around 3 to 5 years. And we've seen that amongst the men in our support group. We have around 95.
Yeah, kia ora, Graham. Tēnā koe, and welcome to Te Korimako o Taranaki. If you haven't already seen us before, but welcome to Te Korimako o Taranaki. I'm going to pass it over to Kim. Tēnā koe, Kim.
Tēnā koutou whanau. My name's Kim Jackson, and I'm the supportive care coordinator for the Cancer Society in Taranaki. My job really is to just be there and walk alongside people who are going through this really tough journey. And we just provide as much as we can, as often as we can, and as well as we can. And I'll go into more of that later. Yeah.
Kia ora rā. Tēnā koe, Kim, and again, welcome to Te Korimako o Taranaki. And of course, coming back to you, Graham, of course it is Blue September, and you spoke a lot about the testing and what our men need to do. Tell us, how is it difficult for our men to actually front up and say, look, I got prostate cancer, something's wrong with me, they don't know what it is, and when they find out, they go, they're shocked.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Diane. The thing with prostate cancer is that in the beginning it has almost no symptoms, and so this is why the testing, the regular testing, is so important. So for men with a history of prostate cancer in their family, they need to be tested from the age of 40 onwards. And for men who don't have a history of prostate cancer in their family, from the age of 50 onwards. And so the testing, there's what's known as the DRE, which is the digital rectal examination. Sounds technical, it's not. That's sort of the finger up the backside. Nobody looks forward to that, and there's fear of that. So blokes are bad at getting tested. But there's also the Psa blood test, which is a preferable test, and that involves a simple blood test. And the importance of that is to track the PSA over a period, and it's the trend in PSA that determines whether there's disease, and it also determines when there should be an intervention. And if it's picked up early, the interventions are very successful. In our support group, we've got men who have had surgery, prostatectomies, who have recovered really well and have no further complications. We have men who have had radiotherapy early on, and they've had a similar outcome. So it's very important to be tested. I cannot overemphasize this, and men just need to front up, go to the doctor, and make an appointment, see their doctor, and get tested for prostate cancer. And so with Blue September, we're looking to increase the awareness of prostate cancer. It's our major drive for the year, Blue September. And because of the COVID lockdowns this year, it's likely to morph into Blue October and Blue November as well. But it's, we are not government funded. We have supporters and sponsors, and it's one of our major fundraisers as well. And so the Prostate Cancer Foundation basically promotes awareness of prostate cancer. We provide support for people with prostate cancer. We fund research for prostate cancer, and we advocate for men with prostate cancer. So we're always advocating, suggesting the government should do things more than they do. Like sort of automatic screening of prostate cancer would be a really, really good place to be, but it's not there. So it comes back to men and taking responsibility for their own health and getting in there and getting tested. And, so what I've seen, guys who get tested early, if there's an issue and it gets picked up early, they have a very good outcome. And if it gets picked up too late, the outcome's not great at all.
Kim, I'll come to you. Cancer Society, you don't just deal with one form of cancer, you deal with all cancers.
That's right.
And who comes through your doors. What Graham is talking about in terms of getting tested early, detecting it early. Now, that would be the same advice for yourselves for Cancer Society as well?
Absolutely. Any types of cancer. That's why it's important to get things like your breast screening done, mammograms, cervical screening. But as Graham said earlier, sometimes it's just not even noticed. Cancer can strike in a surprising way and can be asymptomatic, so you're not actually even going to know that there's anything wrong. A lot of the time I advise clients to make close contacts with their GP. Make sure that you're constantly having your health checked, especially as you get older. But also, like with prostate, if you notice any changes in your urination or your stools or any changes that are causing concern, see your GP straight away. Don't wait.
Okay. And again, taking a look at the support systems that Prostate Cancer Foundation New Zealand have for our men and also for Cancer Society as well. I'll come back to you, Graham.
Okay, so what we have, Diane, locally is we have a monthly support group meeting where we have topical speakers, video presentations, and just a bit of a chat amongst the guys who might want to share their stories or, some guidance and comfort. We have exercise groups. These have been funded by the Cancer Society initially, and we have 2 groups running in New Plymouth, and they go to the gym twice a week and then head off for a coffee and then sort of chew the fat and chat about things, and that's very good. We have a morning walk, and we head off through Pukekura Park or up the coast, and included in that is 30 minutes of Qigong, which is a bit like Tai Chi, and it's a healing. It's a series of exercises designed for healing and wellness. And we also have each 2 weeks we have a meditation class and session for people who wish to do that. So we do quite a bit. In addition, we're involved in fundraising, and they tend to be very social events. And we work a lot with the Cancer Society as well as the Prostate Cancer Foundation. They run in tandem, basically. So there's quite a bit of activity, and our men either engage or don't engage, according to how they feel on the day, and that's just fine, right? There's no obligation to do anything, but there's a lot of information that gets around. We have a very, very good support person at the local hospital, Jenny Corbin, who provides a lot of information as well. And all in all, we have a very, very supportive group in this area.
I noticed in what you were saying before that there are a lot of women behind the scenes that actually do a lot of work. And I'm not picking on our men either. I am not doing that. But there's a lot of women behind the scenes. Would you like to see a greater number of men coming in to support this?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking you, Graham.
Oh, okay. Right. We welcome as many men as who would like to be part of our group. And, along with the men are often their spouses and partners, and sometimes caregivers, and they're welcome to attend the meetings as well. So the larger the group, the better. And just to spread the awareness, it's interesting. When we go inspect the groups, we often find women in the groups who are quite surprised at the need for testing and what happens if you don't, and they head off home and make sure their husbands and or partners go and get tested. So it's all about awareness, and the more people we have involved, both men and their partners and spouses, the better, because it is an issue. It's a large issue, and we recognise it. And the risks of not getting tested are just too great.
Exactly.
And men are responsible for this, Diane. Men are responsible for their own health, and it comes right back to us. But if it's not out there all the time, get tested. And why should you get tested? I think there's more awareness around breast screening and breast cancer than there is prostate cancer. And we hope to change that.
Wow, really? I just can't believe both of you aren't being funded. Anyway, Kim, that support system. Now you're out there and about, knocking on doors, talking to our whanau out there, because you've spoken to me, but talking to our whanau out there and giving that support. So this is something that you're quite organised too. Cancer Society are quite organised. So what's the feeling out there in terms of the families, those that have to look after our ones that unfortunately have come to cancer? What's the feeling out there, Kim?
I'm really glad. There's a couple of points in there that I'd like to speak to, actually, Diane. You've made some good points. I'd like to just reiterate and just reinforce really what Graham was saying about getting spouses and support people involved. One of the trends we have noticed is that for support people, the journey is just as hard, sometimes harder, than the person who is actually experiencing the cancer. So that's one of our goals, aim to make contact and support everybody in the whānau that is experiencing this journey. Some of the things that we can offer, like we have a helpline, which is an 0800 cancer number. We have transport and accommodation. We've got a shuttle that goes to and from radiotherapy in Palmerston North every week, twice a week. Although that's a little bit different during COVID. We have, at the moment, especially during COVID, the counselling has been very popular, very needed and timely. There's also accommodation that can help people. Well, they've got somewhere to stay with the Cancer Society. It's a joint effort between the Cancer Society and the hospital down in Palmerston North for when people are getting radiotherapy. So they've got somewhere to stay that is not going to cost them any money. And it's a beautiful place. They are treated like kings and queens. Beautiful. We also offer massage and Reiki and exercise classes, as Graham has mentioned, and other support groups as well. There's also a new initiative called Kia ora e te iwi, and that's been run by our centre liaison here. New process, and it's for Māori by Māori, and it's about offering up a space and a time for Māori to talk about their own journeys. And sometimes it's a nice place to talk about complementary services and options. So we're actually really happy about that coming forward. My job is to advocate for the clients coming through, and we've got lots of information on cancer, lots and lots of information.
Wonderful. I'm just amazed. I'm amazed at what you all do to ensure that our needs are being taken care of.
Good.
For our cancer patients. I really do, without funding. Let's go there. Okay, so you're not funded by the government. What's that saying to you, Graham?
It's a difficult one, Diane. Ideally, we would like some government funding, but then I guess every organisation is looking for government funding. I think that so long as we can support ourselves, and so long as we're listened to by government when we're advocating for various changes, then that's fine. But we can always we use more money to do what we're doing. And particularly this year, and I know it's the same for the Cancer Society, major fundraisers have been disrupted through the COVID process. So this is a difficulty. But again, ideally, there would be a funded scheme for prostate screening. That would be the ideal. And if that could happen, I think we would be ecstatically happy. And that rates ahead of just funding the organisation per se. So that's something that's being worked on, and it's something that needs to happen, I think. Well, we think, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be that what you lose in your funding, what you lose in fundraising, government could top up.
Oh, that's a nice thought, Diane. Yeah, that's a nice thought. we would be very appreciative and probably surprised. Yeah.
The same for you, Kim, for Cancer Society. Now, Daffodil Day is a big day for you guys.
It was, it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and of course, COVID came along.
Yeah.
And changed all that. And so have you got any funding going on through the year or anything that's coming up shortly? Because we are heading back into level 1.
We are, hopefully. Let's go, 21. 21st of September, hopefully. Actually, yeah, there's a lot going on. We have, the Cancer Society has amazing staff members, and one of them is our events coordinator here, and she's extremely talented and very creative. We've got a market day coming up at this Friday, so that'll take place. Unfortunately, as you know, our main drive was curtailed because of COVID, but we've got sponsors, our main sponsors, ANZ, and our sponsors are doing a wonderful job of just keeping going with the fundraising through the other mediums. But I just wanted to say we can't do this without our volunteers. Throughout New Zealand, it's about 14 volunteers to every paid staff member in Cancer Society, but in Taranaki, we've got 32. Wow. That shows you our heart in this area. And a lot of these, the volunteers have actually had personal experience or have someone who has gone through cancer. So there's a lot of real heart and real dedication, commitment that goes into the volunteers around our region. We'd just like to say thank you, actually. Good opportunity. Kia ora.
And of course, Graham's one of them, isn't he?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally committed, well informed.
Kia ora. He is, actually. Thank you. He is. Listen, for both of you, on that cultural side, we're talking, and I'm talking to Taha Māori. The stats for that, Graham, is it higher than any other?
Oh, it's with prostate cancer in Maori, the diagnosis rate is actually less, and we think that's through a lack of testing. But the mortality rate, the death rate with prostate cancer is higher, and that's because we think that with the later testing and the later diagnosis, then the options, the treatment options are more limited, and if the cancer is metastatic, then it's serious. Like it's a deadly disease at that point. And so we think that's they are the drivers. So the important thing is to, as I've said throughout this interview, Diane, important thing is getting tested and to get the testing rate up. I know that I'm starting to sound like Jacinda Ardern and COVID testing, but it's true, and that's the way through this. With cancer, you don't suddenly get cancer. Cancer, sort of bubbles away typically for about 2 years, but you suddenly become aware of it, and that's the shock of it. And the important thing with prostate cancer is not to become aware of it through symptoms, but to pick it up through regular testing. And if you can get in front of it like that, then you can get a very, very good outcome. And if it's the other way around, the outcomes aren't great. Yeah.
Tēnā koe, Graham. Tēnā koe. And coming back to you, same question, looking at the stats in terms of Māori.
Well, in our stats, this is an overall stat, unfortunately. I couldn't identify the prostate out of that. I couldn't extrapolate that. But overall, the number of Māori who are being diagnosed, I guess, is actually closer to double for cancer rates. So there is definitely still inequity, a disparity there in numbers. But Graham, I just want to take my hat off to you for those numbers, because they're not easy to actually find, and they're eye-opening, especially when you're looking at the trend between mortality and diagnosis, because that speaks to the fact that, yes, our Tane are not actually being diagnosed early enough.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Not being tested. So that's a very clear picture.
Yeah, a reluctance to go to the doctor to get tested as well.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Well, it can be, Diane. It just gets more difficult. Like a PSA, normal PSA is less than 4. If a PSA is trending up around 6, 7, 8, together with a Gleason score, which is determined by a biopsy, then you've got a problem that has to be dealt with. But if you present with a PSA of 200 or 300 or 400, as some people do, then it's very, very difficult. The cancer spread. It becomes known as advanced prostate cancer, which is metastatic disease, and then you're in the realms of chemotherapy, androgen deprivation therapy, radiotherapy, and basically palliative care. There is no clinician is going to tell you that they've got a cure for it, because there isn't. And so we want to keep men from getting into that space, if at all possible. It comes back to awareness and doing something about it. And so,
well, I hope we played our part there, Graham. I really hope that Korimako or Taranaki have played their part, because it's very important to us, because the amount of times that we've been to tangihanga and our families are dying from cancer.
Yeah.
The majority of them are dying from cancer. And if we can do or help in any way that we can, I'm sure we'd I'll put my hand up. But we're coming down to the end of our interview, and I just want to say thank you, Graham, for being a part of our kōrero today with regards to Blue September, prostate cancer. Those last words to our men, and coming from a partner, a mother, and grandmother, and to my mokopuna, my young boys, get tested, go and research it, take a look at it, at what it is, and if you think you've got symptoms, then go to your doctor. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you, Diane, for the opportunity to speak today, and to increase awareness. And to all you blokes out there who are listening to this, just go and get tested, please. Please do. Thank you.
Listen to your wives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some last words.
Yeah, but
I can't say much more, actually. I agree with Graham. It's important to be alert and aware and to get tested.
Kia ora. No reira, mihi kawana ki a koutou katoa e wakarongo mai nā e mātakitaki mai ana ki tēnei kaupapa oka ira ki a tātou katoa. No reira, I just want to thank my guests who've come on board with us today to talk about Blue September, prostate cancer, also having Cancer Society here with us this morning, and talking, well, not this morning, this afternoon, talking to us. And I'm sure that we'll talk again, but nei rā tāku, e mihi atu nei kia kōrua. And on behalf of Te Korimako o Taranaki, we'd just like to say thank you.
Ngā mihi.